I was born in Jacksonville, Florida. Both of my birth parents were really dysfunctional people. They lived really messy lives. They were heavily addicted to drugs, stuck in a lot of poverty. And so for the first 6 years of my life, most of it was about survival, was about me making sure that I was surviving so that I could make sure that my two younger brothers were surviving. Hands down, the most painful part of my story was the fact that I was not wanted. When you have felt extreme rejection and neglect, it creates a framework inside of you that you see the world from that place of neglect. And when I was 6, my birth dad and my uncle, who had lived down the street, his brother, got into a fight in the front yard. One of my last memories is just blood pouring down my birth dad's face. So at that point, the police got called and Child Protection Services got called, and the two boys and I were shoved into a car, and that was the last time we ever saw that house again.
Any couple that's ready to adopt has to be able to really search their hearts for why they want to adopt and how it's going to affect their family. And I felt that Bethany Christian would do a lot better job understanding who we were and helping us through this process, because we knew nothing. I just had been praying about it and knew I was ready to start seeking this.
So she started talking to me. Well, I looked at Bethany Christian. They seem like they've been there, done that. They're faith-based. They're going to understand our Christian perspective, and they're going to understand our story of being called to adopt, not just wanting to adopt. And so we made the call to Bethany, and they were so helpful from the first call.
Right. We began by contacting them. We went to some group counseling sessions and started to learn about the process of adoption, which was very informative. We learned some very important terminology and some very important expectations of what adoption could look like. And it started to become more real. It was a more serious situation.
Before Bethany Christian got involved, Angel and I were just really driven by the dream of more children, or the dream of having a bigger family. We had no clue what adoption meant, and what we would have to go through, and what hardships would come, because adoption always begins out of trauma. I mean, it's the result of trauma, and we had no idea what that would be like.
Knowing that there was a faith-based organization behind us that would be praying for us, that we could contact at any time, and would offer a lot of personal support would be important, because it wasn't going to be an easy journey.
Bethany Christian really armed us with knowledge about things that were going to come, even though we had no idea what that meant at the time.
Once Mark and Angel told us that they were going to adopt us, I remember feeling like it was Christmas morning and I had just gotten a really awesome present and being really excited. But I think as the hard work of actually building the relationships began, that brought up so much pain for me. So for 3 years, I fought against my adopted parents. I would do everything I could to avoid giving my adopted parents control. I would disobey just to be difficult. I would refuse physical affection. I avoided anything that would create any kind of intimacy or vulnerability. I wouldn't look them in the eyes when they talked to me.
Bethany was there to help us understand that what we were feeling and going through, the difficulties were normal. And also, through a few home visits, the person who shared some things with us was easily pointed out, okay, that's going to be a problem. That's probably going to happen. Let me know when you need a counselor. And it did happen, and we needed a counselor. And then they were able to direct us towards someone that would support our faith within the counseling. So having an adoption agency that understood that shared those same values, that wanted to see a family form the way that we were trying to form ours, was really important.
That counselor really gave my parents tools to help me sit in those emotions and write them out and journal. And through that process, my adopted parents sat with me in those emotions, and that really started to form a bond with them. And that bond was what allowed me to begin trusting them and actually allowed me to fall in love with them as my parents and enjoy that relationship.
There was a point in time when I didn't know if I would ever have a loving, healthy relationship with my daughter. And it's out of those moments of desperation that you may feel like giving up, but having someone to call and having an adoptions agency there to support you can be a turning point.